Are you aware in the Holy Bible, the most powerful man ever been in this world and on this planet named Samson, according to the book of Judges, chapter 16, verse 19? And he had dreadlocks. He was an Israelite. When you read the book of Judges, you'll find out that the Israelites was capable of having dreadlocks. Of course, what happened to Samson? We know the story of Samson. He took the jaws of a mule and he slain 1,000 Philistines who was his enemy. What about Delilah? What happened between him and Delilah? Are you aware that God placed in his heart, according to Judges chapter 14, verses 3 and 4, the wantonness of being with a Philistine woman? And so, why? Because God wanted him to sleep with the daughters of his enemy so that it would create a war against the Philistines and the Israelite, because God has given Samson great power to overcome the Philistine. So how did she dupe him, or what? How did she use, what scheme? Was she seditious? Of course she was. She used a manipulated plan to lure him. We call this a psychological warfare. The Philistine used a woman. This is the oldest trick, the oldest scheme in history. You want to get a strong man, send a beautiful woman, one which he thinks is beautiful. So this was the scheme. So he went outside of his culture. The coarse hair, the dreadlock culture was dread. Why it's called dread? Dread meaning that you become dreadful or terrifying. You can bring a disaster. And this was the culture that God gave him. That's why he put his hair into a dreadlock style, a dreadlock culture. Locks. He locked in his culture. He locked in his style. So he locked it up. And that's why it was called locks. So that it would not be something he had to take care of, to tend to on a frequent basis. So this is the culture of him. Now, by him laying with the daughter of the enemy, the repercussion was eventually he ended up sharing his culture with another culture that was capable of being the enemy. And she realized that the culture, as far as destroying it, was to remove the dreadlocks. She removed it. She called in the other guys, the soldier. They took him and they plucked his eyes out and they had sports with him. He became a gladiator without power. This is the unfortunate thing that happens to you when you go out of your culture without an intention to take over the culture. If you do not, the culture will eventually take over you. What am I saying? I'm saying, is it a sin to go outside of your culture? No, but it's a preference, even according to God, to remain with your own unless you have a plan or your ideology is to strengthen yourself through the other culture, which was the plan of the Philistine, but God beat them to their own scheme, their own game. So in the meantime, I want you to remain smart, be intelligent, always feeling obligated to do what's best for you, your sisters, your brothers, and what will strengthen you. When you become a wealth, don't go marrying outside of your culture. It keeps your mother and your sibling, everybody else weak. Because when you leave this world, who gets all the money? Who receives your wealth? Yes, the culture you marry into. And you leave your brothers and sisters and brethren, once again, poor again. So keep these things in mind. I'm not being prejudiced. I'm just giving you preference. This is not bias. It's called the basis. So, as usual, be calm, be cool, and be careful out there.